Good evening, everyone. If you can hear us, give us a thumbs up. Fantastic. Just so that everybody knows where you are, in case you've forgotten, this is Tuesday Talks. This is talk number 2.
I'm just check this out and see what's happening.
And
yeah, I don't think that's on the agenda, but okay.
All right.
All right. I love you. Bye.
If you could go ahead and everybody put your mics on mute until it's time for you to talk. All right. So again, this is Tuesday Talks. This is talk number 2, and I believe that tonight we're going to be focusing on the topic of evangelism.
Yes, yeah, in the local church, yes.
And so we're going to turn this over to our administrative bishop, Toby S. Morgan.
Hey, grateful, glad you guys are here. Thanks for joining in. I will tell you that we had a special guest who is going to be presenting to you tonight about evangelism in the local church. And yesterday afternoon, he backed out. So here we are, scrambling. So tonight we're going to talk. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some stuff that's going on, maybe a way that you can incorporate evangelism, and maybe hear from you about some of the things that you are doing in your local church as far as evangelism goes. I can tell you, doing some studies, some work, and creating some projects for hopefully next year that we can kind of launch. I'm creating this thing called Intercede, Invest, Invite. And it talks about praying for people and then investing in their lives, inviting them to church. And in my study, in my research, I can tell you that 75% of the Church of God congregations in South Carolina are smaller today than they were 10 years ago. And that's being set beside the fact that now South Carolina is the fastest growing state in the union. People are moving here like crazy. So we have a great harvest, and there's a way to reach people. It's something like almost 70% of people who's unchurched people, about 70% of unchurched people who are surveyed respond that they think the church is a positive thing to have in the community. But about 80% of them surveyed say that it's intimidating to go to a church for the first time. And it's hard for them to do that. They think in large that the church is a good place to make friends, but they also think it's a difficult place to make friends because it's tough to go into a new place. It's tough to go into, and it is hard. And I'm writing about this, that it is because there's a lot of times as the overseer, I've driven up to churches and you get that death stare when you get, who are you? And when you walk in, there have been times I'd leave. I would have left. I'm telling you, people are like, you know, that death ray and kind of stare. And back during COVID, it was fun. You'd walk in and they'd stick something to your head. And I was always hoping it was a thermometer, not a gun, you know, the bishops here. But and so I'm writing about this, talking about creating a way where we can invite people to church, where we can train our people and equip our people to invite unchurched people to come with them. But that all starts with intercession. And if the Lord helps me and it can get done, I'm going to do a program about the power of focused prayer in the local church and how it might impact the awareness of lost people. And we'll see how that comes down the pipe. But I'm believing God would help us, that we could intercede for people, and then we could invest in them and invite them. And inviting is far beyond what we used to do. You know, it used to be a thing you could leave cards around. You could leave a pen with the church name and stuff, but that's kind of old. It won't go there anymore. There has to be a thing, because the way unchurched people define invite is, hey, man, I love you to come to church with me Sunday. It's a great place. I think it's wonderful. Tell you what, I'll come pick you up and we'll go to lunch. I'll sit with you and go to lunch. Or if he's driving, look, there's a little angel statue over there. It looks like he's using the bathroom with water coming out of him. I'll meet you right there. We'll go in and sit down together. I'll be with you, and we'll be a part of church today. And then take them out to lunch, because that's what inviting people means to unchurched people today. Today, in some research, I came across this: the 3 biggest reasons that people in church do not invite their friends to come to church with them. Number 1, they're afraid their friend will have a bad experience, that it won't be good, that people will treat them bad, something like that. Number 2, they really don't know what to say, how to invite them. We think, yeah, surely they do, but they don't. And number 3, they aren't confident that our churches are ready for guests. They know if their friend walks in and they feel awkward or they feel lost or unnoticed, they will not come back. They know that. And so, we got to learn at making our churches feel welcome. It's about clear signage and warm greetings and an intentional follow-up process so people feel connected beyond Sunday. I've been to some churches, even in South Carolina. They're good churches. You pull up, man, and it's wonderful, and get in there and it's great. But when you pull up, there's no signage. And there's like 6 buildings. Well, which building do I go to? What door do I go in? And so there needs to be good signage up for people like that. And we need to act like we're thinking people who don't know anything about our church are showing up. That's vital. That's important. So I would encourage you to do that. And I would encourage you to train your people to be friendly, to be, welcoming, to be friendly on the way out the door. That's vital. And by all means, whatever you do, don't let a couple who's new to the community in the church come to your church and have 27 people. Oh, we're so glad you're here. We love you. Da, 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 da. And then when it's all over, leave them standing and let them drive away alone. A few years ago, this was not in this state, Don and I went as a guest to a church one Sunday morning. Great church, man. Great church. And we were even introduced. This is the overseer. Great. Oh, we're so glad you're here. But when church was over, it's like we had leprosy. And everybody got in their car and left. And we were kind of new to the area at that time. Didn't really know anybody. Didn't know anything. And I said to Diane, you should never let a new couple leave without somebody taking them to lunch, or at least offering to take them to lunch. I know the last couple of places I pastored, I had key people in my church that if a visitor, if they were there and they had that little odd looking packet that we got, that's how we identified the newcomers. They knew, take them to lunch and bring me the bill. Take them to somewhere to lunch and I'm paying for it. You present me the bill, I'll reimburse you. My staff knew to do that. If somebody new came to church Sunday and they had kids, my children's pastor knew, take them to lunch and we'll pay for it. So I think that's important. And then knowing that they're going to be there with them, sit with them in church, those kind of things are vital, I think, in these days, in the modern era. Nearly 8 in 10 unchurched people would come to church if they were invited by a friend who accompanied them to a worship service. You think about that, 8 in 10. That means there are millions. There are literally millions. There are millions of people in South Carolina who would come to your church if one of your people, not you, but one of your people, would invite them and accompany them to a worship service. Man, there is a great harvest field out there if we can tap into those things. And we're going to be talking about that. That's what we're going to call it in Intercede, Invest, Invite. And that's going to be a program that, if I can get it completed, that by next spring, we're going to promote and launch here. If we can't get it then, we'll get it in the fall of 26 after the assembly. But so that will work. But what I want to do now is I want to talk about Easter, okay? Because Easter is our day, and I have a program that I developed right there. It's called Strategic Sunday, Easter Sunday. I'm going to walk through it real quick and kind of let you know what this is. And if you want it, you can email me and I'll get it to you. It's a strategy to invite neighbors to attend the most attended Sunday of the year. And I can tell you everywhere I've been, every state I've been, where starting in New Mexico, where I wrote this program and gave it to guys, some guys have taken it to heart and worked it hard and had the biggest Easters they've ever had, biggest Sundays they've ever had. And it's simple. I mean, this is elementary school stuff. It works, but it's hard work. It's a lot of work. Easter is still the biggest Sunday of the year. It's our day. It's a secular culture, but it is still our day. And if you'll take this and work with it, it'll help you avoid the same old routines that we've used for decades. You know, we're just not going to assume people are going to come anymore. We're going to reach out. It'll heighten awareness of all your people about the plight of lost people around them. It'll give us a greater opportunity to see people saved on Easter Sunday in your church. And it will help you as a church to achieve some maximum attendance benchmarks, so you know where your church can go. You know what you can do. I would say I played a lot of golf in my life, but I've gone to the golf course a lot through my life. And they've always told me that if you'll go to the golf course one day when there's nobody there, and you'll play 3 balls every time, hit 3 drives, and then hit 3 shots after that, and always do your best ball, in other words. Hit 3 drives, play the best one, hit 3 approach shots, play the best one, putt 3 times, if you do that, it'll give you an idea of what you can do. I've never done that, but anyway, that's what they do. Easter gives you an idea of what your church's ceiling is at the moment. Most of you, if you've got a church that has 100 in attendance on every Sunday, you have a church of probably 300. You know, if your church has 500, you probably have a church of about 1,000 to 1,500 people who plug in and out, because we all know not everybody comes every Sunday, do they? They just don't. So we understand that. But on Easter, you pretty much get everybody. So that gives you an idea of what you can reach. So if you have 2 services and you have 1,400 people on Sunday, Easter Sunday, they let you know that's what you can do. And if you have 1 service and you have a building that seats 120 and you wedge them in there, that's the most you're ever going to get. And you won't get that on a regular basis because people won't come and be wedged in most of the time. But this is what it does. Now, this is designed for a 6-week program. Really, and that includes the week of Easter. But really, you got 4 that you can work. Easter's 5 weeks away. And so, but you got about 4 to 5 weeks you can work. This can work, and it can work for you. If you want it, let me know, and I will send it to you, because this program has in it, it's got a couple of sermon outlines about preaching to your people, about lost people. It has a couple of sample Easter invitation letters. It's all right here. Here's what you do, and again, very simple. March 23rd, which is a week from Sunday. You would start working your people to bring addresses, names and addresses of unchurched family and friends around them they'd like to see attend on Easter. And what I always stress, I need every one of you to get me 5. Give me 5 names of people who don't go to church. I'm not talking about Uncle Fred that's membered at First Baptist that might mean, no, I'm talking about unchurched people. Give me 5 of those, and I need their addresses, their mailing address, and get it ready, and then start praying for it. Then on March the 30th, you would that week you'd get something that you can display names on. If it's a little pegboard thing, you can put names in, but get something you can put in your sanctuary and start putting those names and addresses up there of people. And you thank those, I thank the Mark family. They brought us 3 names, and here are their names. And man, the Jones family brought 5, and the Smith family brought 1, and I put them up there. And then during that church service, guys, I stopped and I said, we're going to pray. I rolled that thing out in the altar, and I got as many as would come down there and pray, and we'd pray over those names. I'm getting them thinking of, don't say there are 4 months yet to harvest, but the harvest is here. It's ready. It's right. Pray to the Lord of the harvest. You're getting them toward that idea. You have those names, and you continue to challenge people to get those names into you. Okay. Then on Sunday, April the 6th, you're praying for them. You're believing God for them. You're working hard for that. But here's where the heavy lifting goes. You as a pastor, you write a letter to every one of their friends that they turned in. Dear Josh, just below the equator off the coast of Ecuador lies Easter Island. On this island are many large statues towering above the landscape. Experts have tried to figure out how they were carved, moved, and positioned hundreds, perhaps even thousands of years before the invention of heavy equipment. While the answers to this riddle may be long in coming, there is a certain aptness in naming that area Easter Island. There's significance in that story that goes beyond the riddle of how they came in the first place. Many of the Easter Island statues seemingly faced the sea as though they were waiting for something or someone. They almost seem like sentinels awaiting the arrival. This year at your church, we anxiously await Easter Sunday, for it is truly a high point in our church life. It's the way we celebrate the resurrection of Christ. Unlike the mute statues of Easter Island, we announce to all of our friends, Easter is coming. With its coming is the celebration of Christ's resurrection and the affirmation of our hopes as well. I want to personally invite you to join me and a special friend of yours, Josh Martin, as we together celebrate the greatest day in history, the day Christ came forth. One last thing. After Easter Sunday, whatever the date is, I'll be starting a 3-week series on something, and I want you to join us. That's just one of the sample letters there. Here's where the heavy lifting comes in. You as a pastor, if you don't have a staff, you got to do it. But you're going to write a personal letter to every name, every family that you get. And they're going to get an invitation from you on behalf of him to come to Easter Sunday church. Okay, and you can craft a letter any way you want to do it, something like that. And then you introduce them to a sermon series on something that has appeal to it, like, how to raise kids without killing them. How to let me know when you figure that out. How to raise your kids and not kill them, but or God's promise of financial blessing, or is Jesus really coming this year? Something that has an appeal to it to people. And just do a 2 or 3 week series announcing it on that Sunday and start the next week. That helps. I don't want to use these terms necessarily, but it's a hook. It's something to get people's attention peaked so they'll come back. And so these are unchurched people we're reaching. Remember that. So avoid the deep theological subjects we preachers love, those kind of things. All right. Then the week of Easter, the week leading up to Easter, you send them an email. If you got a phone number, give them a call. Maybe some of you can drop by. I don't know. But that week, not only do I contact them, but he contacts them. Again, man, please come to church with me Sunday. We'll go to lunch together. I'll sit with you, whatever. They do it, okay? I do it on behalf of the church, and they do it to their family and their friends. So you're touching the unchurched guy several times with several invites. Billy Graham, before he died, said it takes 7 people to win somebody to Jesus. 7 people have to be involved. By that he meant 7 touches. And that's biblical. I sow, he waters, you tend, he takes care of weeds, whatever, and then God gives the increase. So what you're doing is you're touching the unchurched person numerous times in a short period. It's going to make an impact on their life. Then when you get ready on Easter Sunday, you are prepared for them, man. I mean, you are prepared so that new people arrive, they sense they've been prepared for, and you're expecting guests. I say this, guys, I've been saying this for years. Coffee smells better than Clorox. So if you've got a sanctuary or a church thing where somebody walks into a common area, and it's kind of a smaller common area, make it smell good. Have fresh baked cookies out there, something that smells good. So when it's inviting when they come in, it's not that old dank church smell, that kind of stuff. Make sure that everything is cleaned and ready. I had a pastor once a state where I was that asked me for something, and he sent me pictures, and I called him back and I said, first of all, you get out there and you cut the grass and you get the weeds that are growing up between the steps out before you do anything else, because nobody's going to come to your church with it looking like that. So make sure Easter's the best day of the year. Everything rehearsed, everything ready, make it flow, make it pop. Preach the gospel with the Holy Spirit moving. Again, you're going to have people on Easter Sunday, whether you have 23 people or 2,300 people, you're going to have people who are unsaved. They are lost. You got some church people, the poinsettia and the Easter lily crowd. The Easter lily crowd will be there. They count that as their church, but they're as lost as a goose, and they need salvation. So get ready and let the Holy Spirit flow through you, and then plan. Let everybody know about those upcoming series you're going to do, and use this as an opportunity to reach people. Very simple, but it works. It's so simple, it works. I'm telling you. I had a pastor in New Mexico up in the northwest corner, the Four Corners region, and he had a church that consisted of mainly Native Americans, a lot of Apaches in his church as well. And in that region of the world, Apaches are the most disdained Native American group in that region out there. That, everybody looks down on somebody, and the Apaches are at the bottom of the rung. He had a church, probably the whole thing about the size of the building, the room we're in right now. Their entire sanctuary was, I preached for him one Sunday. He had about 30, and it was full. He did this, and he had 88 people on Easter Sunday, the biggest crowd they'd ever had. And I said, where did they go? And he said they were standing around the walls. They were standing up. Simple little thing. Now, I also had a pastor one time tell me that's way too much work. And I wanted to take his license, because if you are willing to do this, you probably don't need to be leading a church. Just a lot of work, guys. It is. But I'm telling you, it not only does it get you a crowd, it helps your Easter Sunday crowd. It helps your people, because it focuses them a little bit. Instead of navel gazing about they don't like the color of paint or the whatever, they're beginning to realize there are lost people around us, and we need to do something about it. So it focuses them on that. I'll tell you what else it does. It gives you a potential harvest field that you can work for the next month or two about winning people to Jesus and to your church, because these are unchurched people. It's going to give you the ability to follow up. And that's the thing. After Easter, every guest deserves attention from you and your church. So a letter, a call, an email, a visit, you ought to touch them several times, several ways. Next month, we're going to meet on April 15th, tax day. Hallelujah. We'll all be a little poorer that day. But next month, when we do this, we're going to have some guests come in who are going to talk a little bit about what they're planning on doing for Easter follow-up. So maybe you'll get 2 or 3 ideas. I know it's right before Easter, but it may be something you can employ in your ministry, your church, about following up on those who come on that Easter Sunday. Again, very simple. I mean, so simple it's almost embarrassing to talk about it, but it helps. Okay, and it gives you a tool as a pastor to put in people's hands, and it gives them an easy invite. Sometimes it's hard to invite people, because they don't know. We all know what Easter Sunday is, and everybody's condition. It is our day. It's our day in America, and we need to take advantage of it, make it a strategic day. And so I just wanted to present that to you. I got a couple of messages in this if you wanted to do the whole program. And again, if you will email the office, if you want that, I'll get it to you. But only if you email it. If you send it in to Sandy or whatever in the morning, we'll turn around and shoot you this program. But very simple, but it works. Like most things, it works. Let me ask you, and we'll ask you to chime in. Is there anything you guys are doing that you might want to share with a group about getting ready, about trying to get people in on Easter Sunday? Any kind of idea that you have that you're employing in your ministry? Okay. Okay, you'll have to wave at us so we'll know if you want to, if you're interested, or unmute yourself and say something and let us know. Not everybody at once. Come on. Nobody's doing anything.
We're actually doing something, sir. What we're doing is
Tell
we're
us
going
who
to be
you are
passing
so we
out
know.
Bibles, and we're going to be passing out Bibles and little resurrection coloring books in our community,
Awesome.
trying to reach some of the unchurched around us and inviting some of the local families out.
Okay, who was that? I couldn't hear. I can't see you. Who was it?
Nick Jefferson.
Okay, thanks, Pastor. Okay,
Yes, sir.
yeah. Somebody else. Tell us who you are if you start talking. Anybody? Maybe you're having Flipper the Rabbit. I don't know. What are you doing?
Bishop, this is Pastor Patrick Conley here in Rock Hill.
Okay, yes, sir.
We actually do something similar to what you had just mentioned with mailing out letters. So our students and our kids will do like praise dance and that sort of thing on special days like Easter.
Right.
And last year we did it on Palm Sunday and actually had a crowd that was almost bigger than Easter.
Wow. Yeah.
But what we do, we actually have them provide, each kid provides 5 names and addresses of people they want to invite. And then we send them the invite, and it says basically, you know, for my daughter to be Reagan, Reagan has chosen you as a person she wanted to see there. Everybody will say no to me. Nobody's saying no to that grandbaby, to that neighbor's kid. So when they think that that kid picked them to be there, they all show up.
Yes,
And
sir.
it was amazing. I mean, just literally standing room on the days that we've done that. So we're going to roll that out this Easter as well.
That's incredible. Yeah. Never overestimate or underestimate, I'm sorry, the power of a personal invite on something like that. Yeah. For everything you do, if you said Easter aside, if you're going to do water baptisms and you got 3 families that are going to be baptized, get names and addresses of their families and invite them to come participate in that water baptism. You're going to dedicate a baby? Yeah, man, invite the bunch, that kind of stuff. Hey, listen, at camp meeting, every graduate of MIP or CAMS who get me somebody's name, I'm going to write a letter to them and invite them to come and participate. Everybody's who's being ordained as an ordained bishop at camp meeting, everybody they give me a name and address, they're getting a letter from me on their behalf, and because they'd love for you to participate in their ordination or their whatever like that. So never underestimate the power of that grandbaby. Yeah, that's a great idea. Get your kids involved in this. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, Bishop Andrew Flip Orlando here. Sort of do very similar to what Patrick does there. But the way we do it is we have all of our youth and children 3 weeks before Easter pick out at least one person in their contact list. And a few times every week leading up to them, they reach out to them, they call them, they text them, they email them, however their contact is. So they are consistently pretty much on them to say, I really want you to come sit with me. I really want you to come be with me on that day. And if everybody just does that to one person in their contact list, you're going to have up to triple time what you would normally have. So just getting them involved, because like Patrick, I echo what he said, nobody's going to turn down a child. Nobody's going to turn down a young person, especially if it's family. They're going to come and sit and listen to my loud self, and they're going to come and at least be with them and everything. So definitely getting them involved has helped us tremendously over the past few years here.
Very good. Yeah, very good. If you have new families coming to your church, they are a rich harvest field, especially if they've just been saved a little while, because most of us reach a point we don't know many lost people. After a while in the church, we don't know many lost people, but new converts and younger men, they know a bunch of people that they can they reach out and touch. Yeah, that's awesome. Anybody else?
Bishop, I'd like to chime in on this. Sometimes we don't feel like that we have an audience that we can invite to our services. If you're the pastor, maybe you're relying on your people to do the inviting, but look for opportunities where you have captive audiences. For instance, we've been programmed to go to the grocery store and go through the self-checkout lines now, but maybe plan a couple extra minutes and go through a line where you actually have someone that's checking your groceries out. And as they are running your groceries through, ask them something like, hey, is there anything that I can pray with you about?
Yeah.
It's a captive audience. They can't leave, and they're right there in front of you, and it's uncomfortable. But that's what we're called to do. And do the same thing when you're going out to eat. You're going to restaurants. When your server comes up to take your order, ask your server, hey, we're getting ready to pray. Is there anything that we can pray for you about? Now, here's the catch with that. Number one, they're not going to be expecting it. It may be a little uncomfortable, but make sure you leave a good tip if you do that.
Yeah.
Because you've already told on yourself that you're a believer. And every server will tell you that the one day they don't want to work is Sunday,
Yeah.
because that's the day that we go out to eat. And we aren't always good patrons. So look for opportunities like that, and say, hey, listen, we prayed for you today. Here's a card, here's an invite. And if you're not doing anything on that Sunday, on Easter Sunday, I'd love for you to come sit next to me.
Yeah.
Look for those opportunities.
Absolutely. That's a good point. Yeah. And years ago, when I was pastoring in Mobile, Alabama, we had prayer conference in Mobile. And we had at a church just down the street from this large Chevron station. And a friend of mine who pastored in the city went by there the day after we'd concluded prayer conference and went in to get something. And something happened. He said, oh man, that's great. That's, and he started talking to them about the Lord and about church. And one thing led to another. He told them he pastors such and such Church of God in the city. And the guy behind the counter yelled at this other guy and said, hey, Fred, come here a minute. I finally met one of these preachers who's not and he used a bad term, because all of our guys had gone in there and been horses behinds to them and treated them badly. And so the Church of God name had been sullied right there until a guy comes in and does that. So yeah, we need to be nice to people. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Well, Easter's our day. It's there. Culture's rapidly changing. It is rapidly changing. And if you keep up with stuff, you know that the nuns, not Roman Catholic nuns, but the NONES, the nuns, are becoming an ever increasingly large segment of our society. For the first time in our history, church membership, about 3 years ago, church membership fell below the 50% mark of the population. So as the population is growing, the size of the church is decreasing. And unless we do something about it, it's going to get worse. So, this is one way. While it is our day, let's reap the harvest that God gives us, because it's our harvest. It belongs to you, and it belongs to your church. So, something as simple as this, and here's the way I always look at it. If I can do something, it's a lot of work, but I can get one person genuinely saved on Easter Sunday. Just one. A friend of mine, a little older than me, but a friend of mine passed away about 2 years ago now, from a liver disease. He was a pharmacist, a great guy. On an Easter Sunday, I watched he and his wife. I graduated high school with her, and he was a few years older. I watched them come to an altar on an Easter Sunday morning. And usually, you think, that's just emotion, whatever. But I watched those guys come, and man, they wept, and Christ did a mighty work in their lives. And he was a powerful influence in that church, and he's in heaven today because he really did come to Christ on an Easter Sunday. So I'm just telling you, it can be done. And if just one, if you do all this work and just one person is genuinely redeemed and touched by the Holy Spirit, what an impact it'll make and in heaven. Okay. Any questions? Anything, guys? I'm sorry, I guess couldn't make it tonight, but I thought, well, I'll share this and a little bit of what I'm doing with you. And I believe that God can work in our lives, and it can be an amazing time. But if you're going to do it, you got to start now. You can't wait till a week out. You know, this is something, if you're gonna do and really make an impact, it's something you gotta jump on pretty quickly. And get those names and start making contact with them 2 weeks out and work on them.
Hello, Bishop. This is Ronald Lee from Earl Church of God.
Yes, sir.
Got a quick question for you and maybe the group. When you have people that have gotten discouraged because they have reached out and invited people to come in, given and sacrificed, and they've been hurt because people, rather than coming to Christ, they've taken what the church has offered and just gone out. I was just wondering, how do you bring healing to those who have been wounded by I guess the best way to say it, it's easy to say one man plants the seed, another man waters, but God gives the increase. How do you minister healing to people who've been wounded because they've tried to evangelize and it just hasn't been effective?
Right off the bat, my thing is that I think I would talk to them and say, you know, Christ himself is our example. And he said, I didn't come to be served, but to serve and give my life as a ransom for many. Number one, he did that not expecting anything in return. Secondly, he did that knowing that not all are going to respond. Read a thing, just was writing about it just this week. I forget, in Acts, you have Paul and the disciples, or maybe it's Iconium or somewhere like that, where it's a little statement that, and the Lord gave he to his word with signs and wonders. I mean, an amazing thing. God's doing this amazing stuff. And then it says, and part of the city was moved and went with Paul the apostles, but the other part of the city, they went with the Jews. They didn't believe them. They wouldn't accept it. So even miracles, even the miraculous, didn't persuade some. So yeah, we're understanding that. I think the majority of people are going to turn us away. I do. Broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many are going that way. Narrow is the way, and few go that way. So I would say to whoever that is, our job is to sow and be like Christ and understand that not everybody's going to accept it. Matter of fact, most aren't. And yep, people are going to take advantage of you. But let me ask you, if I give to him knowing he's going to take advantage of me, he's really not taking advantage of me. I'm investing, I'm sowing. And so I think I'd have to approach it that way with him. Anybody else? What are your thoughts on it? Okay, all right.
I'll say something. This is Pastor Morgan.
Yes, sir.
I pastored in Lockhart and faced that same thing that he's going through in Earl. We did a family outreach and had one person show up, free meal, advertised this free, and had one person show up. So my people got really discouraged. And what I did is I told them, I said, we have to keep going.
Yeah.
And we have to keep sowing. And so we did it again the following year and had a building full.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of just persistently just keep going in that direction. Because when you least expect it, that's when they'll show up.
There you go. Good point. You made a point that made me think. In the parable of the sower, only 25% of the seed really produced. When you look at the story Jesus talked about, you've got the 4 kinds of soil, only one produced full lasting results. And so when you start looking at those analogies, we're going to invest a lot more than we're going to get out of it. And if you look at an investment and return on that, but it is true. You just keep sowing and it's all up to the Lord. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? This is us talking. Yeah, it's just us tonight. Okay. Any other questions? Anything you want to bring up about this? Okay. I'll share one other thing then. We're up almost 45 minutes in now. I had a call today from a pastor, another state, but kind of a guy that's in one of my younger guys that's in my ministry that I've affected. And Sunday, he has two services. And Sunday morning, they just kind of morphed into one long altar service. He never preached. It's this great long altar service. He has a lot of people coming who are non-Pentecostal. And he said, I didn't have time to explain what was going on. And I told him, well, you know, this is what I had done. I'll just throw this out for whatever. I always had in my foyer area stuff I'd written. And I'd written this pamphlet called What's Going On or What's Happening or something like that. And I went into detail about all the stuff that people who are not accustomed to our ways, what they see. And I couched it in scripture so that they knew what's this guy doing talking out loud and something I don't understand. And then somebody over there says something else that I do understand. And I gave them the scriptures. I wanted them to know that tongues and interpretation is rooted in scripture. You know, he was asking me today about people being slain in the spirit. Somebody asked him about it. So we went through and I told him, you know, what I had written about it, how it had it. And I would always have that out there and say, if you're curious about what you've seen, I want you to know it's biblical. We've got that out there. Now you can do it in a QR code format today. It doesn't all have to be printed. But I would advise you to have stuff printed out there that people can pick up, because there are a lot of people who are even techno savvy, but they're not necessarily going to do that, but they may pick it up on the way out. So you're covering your base every way you can. It might not hurt on Easter Sunday to have some special something for your guests on the way out to pick up. You know, I don't know. You know, I just don't think you can communicate your message too much. You got to. I know we get tired of the sound of our own voices, but you have to repeat it over and over for it to really get communicated. And so that may be something there again. But be sure you follow up on people after Easter. Touch them in several ways that week, man, and speak into their lives and let them know you as a pastor want them as a part of your church. And that cannot go far enough, that you invest your time in them. It speaks volumes. It really does. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Well, hey guys, we love and appreciate you. I thank you for just giving us, 42 minutes here on a Tuesday night just to talk a little bit about some stuff like this. As I said, next month on April 15th, we have I think we have 2 or 3 of our guys, some of you guys may be lined up to talk about what you're doing for follow-up on Easter Sunday, to make a presentation. Be thinking about how you're going to follow up on your people. These will be ideas that you can maybe jump in on. And then in May will be Dr. Mark Williams, and he's just coming to pour into us, just whatever is on his heart. We're going to let him speak to us that night, and then we'll take a break for the summer. But I appreciate you guys coming in, being a part of this, and thank you for sharing. Some of you guys for sharing your heart with us, and we're loving you, praying for you. Praying for our state. Thought we had a good meeting Saturday. Thing went good. Trying to focus, get some direction on what the survey said. We're still kind of drilling down, trying to get everything mined out of it that we can. Then I'll send an email out saying, hey, here's kind of the way the body felt we should go. And my goal, and I'll tell you this, my goal is to get with the state council and probably through the summer us work on plans, and then come back sometime late in the fall, if we can get it together, sometime late in the fall, and lay a couple of options out and say, here you go, what do you think? Which one do you want? Or do you want anything? And let you vote. And we'll move forward from that. Because if we do sell any property, it takes 2/3 majority vote from the body. And so we'll have to express that. But when we get through, and a couple of you guys are on the council, when we get through with all that, we'll have something ready. And I see Brother Edward Hardy right there, and his brain is working right now to formulate the very plan. Look at it. That we need. But I just pick it on him because I see his face right there. There may be other guys involved in it. But we're going to see what the Lord does, and God's got us in his hands. And so my prayer for you, though, is that, man, you have an outbreak of the Holy Spirit at your place, and that you see a lot of people saved, and that you have the biggest Easter Sunday attendance you've ever had in the history of your church. And more than that, you retain a greater part of that harvest than you've ever retained before. Because it really doesn't do us a lot of good if we have 50 brand new people in church on Sunday and we don't win any of them, except just our number looks good. Our ego gets stroked. So, let's win some people to the Lord, make disciples, and our churches will boom. They will flourish as we do that. Okay. Anything else, guys? Anybody? Speak now or hold your peace for a month. Anyway. All right. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. We look forward to seeing you again. And any way we can help you, let us know. If you want this thing, send in an email to Sandy and we'll shoot it out to you. Okay. Bless you guys. Have a good night.